On March 29, 2010, the crew of the MV Iceberg 1 woke up expecting an ordinary day at sea. The cargo vessel was traveling through the Gulf of Aden, one of the world's busiest shipping routes. For the 24 crew members on board, it was just another voyage. They had families waiting for them back home, bills to pay, and dreams for the future. None of them could have imagined that they were about to become part of one of the longest and most terrifying pirate hostage crises in modern maritime history. The waters near the Horn of Africa were already known as dangerous. Somali pirates had spent years targeting commercial ships, capturing vessels, and demanding large ransoms. Shipping companies warned their crews about the threat, and sailors crossing the region remained constantly alert. Yet despite all precautions, the threat was impossible to eliminate completely. As the MV Iceberg 1 moved across the sea, a small boat appeared in the distance. At first it seemed harmless. Fishing boats were common in the area. But as it drew closer, the crew realized something was terribly wrong. The boat was moving at high speed. Armed men stood aboard, carrying rifles and other weapons. Within minutes, the pirates launched their attack. The crew attempted to respond, but they were outnumbered and defenseless. The pirates fired warning shots and quickly climbed aboard the vessel. Fear spread throughout the ship as the attackers took control. The sailors knew that resistance could cost lives. One by one, they were forced to surrender. The pirates redirected the vessel toward the Somali coast. For the crew, the nightmare had only begun. The hijackers believed the ship and its crew could earn them a substantial ransom. They expected negotiations to be completed within a few months. Instead, the situation would drag on for years. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. The sailors remained trapped on their own ship, unable to escape and uncertain about their future. Communication with the outside world was limited. Families back home desperately searched for information, hoping to hear good news. Every passing day increased their anxiety. The pirates demanded money from the ship's owners. Negotiations began, but progress was painfully slow. Disagreements over ransom amounts created delays, and the crew found themselves caught in the middle of a situation they could not control. Their fate depended entirely on decisions being made far away. Life on board became increasingly difficult. Food supplies were limited. Clean drinking water was often scarce. Medical treatment was almost non-existent. The crew members suffered from illness, exhaustion, and emotional trauma. Many lost significant weight as conditions deteriorated. The psychological burden was just as severe as the physical hardships. Every day brought uncertainty. The sailors had no idea when or if they would be released. Some feared they might never see their loved ones again. Others struggled to remain hopeful as months continued to pass with no resolution. The pirates themselves became frustrated. They had expected a quick payout, but negotiations continued without success. As tensions increased, the crew often became targets of anger and intimidation. Reports later revealed that some sailors were subjected to threats and mistreatment during their captivity. Meanwhile, families of the hostages launched campaigns to raise awareness about their plight. Relatives gave interviews, appealed to governments, and begged international organizations for assistance. They refused to let the world forget about the men trapped aboard the MV Iceberg 1. As the first year of captivity passed, hope began to fade for many of the hostages. Yet despite the harsh conditions, they continued to support one another. Crew members formed strong bonds and shared whatever resources they had. They encouraged each other during moments of despair and tried to maintain a sense of dignity under impossible circumstances. The second year brought even greater challenges. The ship itself began to deteriorate. Maintenance was minimal, and the vessel showed signs of neglect. Rust spread across the structure. Equipment failed. Living conditions became increasingly uncomfortable. Despite everything, the sailors continued searching for reasons to keep going. They spoke about their families, remembered happier times, and imagined the day they would finally return home. Those conversations became a source of strength. As nearly 3 years of captivity approached, desperation reached its highest level. The sailors understood that waiting alone might not save them. They began discussing ways to escape. It was an incredibly dangerous idea. Failure could have deadly consequences. But after enduring years of captivity, some believed they had no other choice. In late 2012, several crew members attempted a daring escape. The effort reflected both their courage and their desperation. They knew the risks, but they also knew they could not continue living as hostages forever. The attempt attracted renewed attention to their situation and highlighted the urgency of securing their release. However, their escape attempt failed. One drowned at sea while the others were recaptured and taken into custody. The international community once again became aware of the extraordinary length of their captivity. Human rights groups, maritime organizations, and governments increased efforts to address the crisis. Pressure grew to find a solution. Finally, after almost 1,000 days in captivity, the nightmare began to come to an end. In 2013, the surviving crew members were freed. The moment many had dreamed about for years had finally arrived. The sailors who stepped away from the ship were physically weakened, emotionally exhausted, and deeply affected by everything they had endured. Today, the story of the MV Iceberg 1 remains a powerful reminder of the dangers faced by sailors working in some of the world's most hazardous waters. If you liked our video, then don't hesitate to like, subscribe, and share our video. And stay tuned for more.